Kanye West is back selling slides again for $200. Action Bronson's 1906Rs are inspired by neon spandex from the 80s. Fat Joe's been flexing some Yeezy 2 samples that I think we can all agree are completely trash. Jaylen Brown is beefing with Nike. Jordan Brand have unveiled a whole bunch of exciting retros for 2024. All of these stories and plenty more in this week's Sneaker Wrap. Hello everybody, it is me, Jordan Young, aka Sneakernomics, back with another certified hood classic. Let's kick things off by talking about some of the biggest sneaker drops from the past week. On Christmas Day we had a couple of big drops, well, kind of big. We had another pair of the 8th Street Sambas. We had another pair of Jerry Lorenzo's Adidas Fear of God basketball shoes. We also had the release of the Kobe 4 Protro Black Mambas. These were limited to something in the region of 30,000 pairs, and a lot of people were quite upset at not the shoes but the jacket as part of the rollout, because the jacket was $824. People were mad because not only is this price completely extravagant, but is the greediest price Nike could have chosen, given that the price was predicated on the combination of Kobe's numbers 8 and 24. I think a lot of people would have been more pleased had this price been 24 and 8, $248. We also had the Adidas Crazy Infinity in the Stormtrooper colorway that dropped as well as the Bravest Studio Bear Claws Mule. Right, let's get into some news. I want to start off by talking about Ye. He is back with a pair of new slides that are going for $200. You guys remember last week he launched his Yeezy Pods, which are his sort of ninja socks. And now we have these prison slides, or these slippers that you get when you check into a semi-fancy motel room. And it seems like one of the features of this footwear is that it can be clustered together and carried around like a portable comb or accessory. And the comments on these have not disappointed. I think my favorite one is this. They'll be on Temu for $5.45 in the next week, you can guarantee that. Now the Kanye Glazers out there are pointing to this as a stroke of genius from Ye. After all, how much money can possibly be going into manufacturing and producing these? The margin must be like $195. Is there really a strong enough appetite in the market for these? The Nike Sneakers app let us know what the top 5 most entered for sneakers were this entire year, and the list I'm sure won't surprise any of you guys. At number 5, the recently released Kobe 6 Reverse Grinch. At number 4, the Jordan 4 Pine Green, a lot of people's sneaker of the year this year. At number 3, the SB Dunk Low Jarritos. At number 2, the Air Jordan 1 Low Travis Scott Golf Shoe. And at number 1, the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low in the olive green colorway. I think what we can draw down from this list is the fact that these were the most botted sneakers of the year, the sneakers that were most likely to bring about the most amount of profit in the resale market. Speaking of reselling or reseller platforms, you guys might have seen this video earlier this week where these guys are authenticating these Jordan 1 Lost and Founds. And the main guy in the video doing the authentication gives these shoes the thumbs up, says that they've passed, and then the owners of the shoes turn around and say actually they're fake. And then the reaction is captured on video and posted, and the whole thing went viral. I actually made a video myself reacting to this, as did a lot of other sneaker content creators, and it got a lot of people pointing at Stockx as being the worst when it comes to legit checking sneakers. Now, after having a little bit of time to think about this and reflect on this video, I think there's a couple of things that we need to consider so as to not be too hasty with our judgment of Stockx. One, these guys don't seem to be at a Stockx branded booth. From what I can see, there's no signage or branding. Number 2 is sneaker legit check companies aren't really in the business of legit checking sneakers in a public way like this. At least not in the past year or two. I know maybe a couple of years ago they used to do it, but nowadays the authentication techniques are generally kept under wraps. And the third thing is we don't really know whether or not these shoes in question are fake. They could be real, maybe the guys making the video just wanted to get a viral moment. They wanted to get these guys' reactions on camera and post them and get everybody talking and reacting for clicks and views. And it obviously worked. And so whilst I'm not trying to make excuses for Stockx, I do think casting aspersions on them on account of this video is probably a little bit hasty. What do you guys think? Jaylen Brown disrespected the Kobe 6 Reverse Grinch by wearing a pair without the swoosh. He did this during the Christmas game against the Los Angeles Lakers, where he had a phenomenal game. And a lot of people out there have been wondering why. Basically, there is an unspoken tussle that hasn't really been written much about, but everybody knows about between Jaylen Brown and the swoosh ever since 2022 when Nike broke up with Kyrie. Jaylen Brown took to X, or then Twitter, with a comment stating the following: "Since when did Nike care about ethics?" Now, even though Kyrie himself has moved on and he's gone on to sign with Anta, Jaylen Brown is obviously still holding on to some of the umbrage, because he even posted these swooshless Kobe's on his very own IG. He was also seen turning up to the game in a pair of Yeezy's latest footwear, these ninja sock pod things. But herein lies the irony of this whole thing. If Jaylen Brown really wanted to stick it to Nike and make it clear that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the brand, he doesn't like the brand, blah, 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 he probably shouldn't go out wearing a pair of the shoes that are instantly recognizable on his feet in one of the most popular watched games of the entire year, the Christmas Day Showdown. He's actually brought a lot more attention to the swoosh and to the shoe by wearing them in this fashion, because so many more people are talking about it. Fat Joe shared some incredibly rare Yeezy 2 samples. I am so glad that these just stayed samples. You know, a lot of times when you see celebrities and players break out rare samples, you're like, man, I wish they'd have brought those out. These two pairs right here are trash. We have a pair of leather Red Octobers, and then this purple pair, I think these are called the Cheetahs or something, which look like they're inspired by the Joker or something like that. I've got to say, for me, the leather on the Red Octobers just doesn't work. One of the best features of the Yeezy 2 is the ballistic mesh material that they went with across the toe box and the majority of the upper. As trash as they are though, it is still cool to see these types of sneakers out there. What do you guys think of these? These are the WNBA women's exclusive first class Jordan 4s. Pictures of these were posted by senior Jordan brand designer Kelsey Amy and were made exclusively for WNBA players. Really clean shoe, the materials look really nice. They've got this, looks like a stingray material going along the bottom panel mudguard area, some nice looking leather on the upper. They've even got some diamonds detailing on the ball and the Jumpman on the rear. Nice keychain hang tag thing as well. Very, very clean shoe in a very nice colorway. Right, let's talk about some upcoming retros set to come out next year, and it's starting to get pretty stacked. We've had an announcement this week that the Air Jordan 3 Black Cats are going to be returning in 2024, sometime in the holiday season, and I'm pretty excited for these because this was actually the first pair of Jordans I bought when I moved to London in 2007. I have very fond memories of going straight into Nike Town when I landed, buying these. Also cops the Flip 3s as well. Don't think these are going to command the same type of hype as the Air Jordan 4 Black Cats, but I can imagine that they'll still definitely be very popular. We also heard this week that the Air Jordan 4 Fears are going to be coming out next year as well, and this is hardly surprising. I pretty much knew this was coming when the Fear 3s were announced last year. In fact, I went to the trouble of actually selling my pair of Jordan 4 Fears from 2013 in anticipation for these dropping this year. It doesn't stop there though. We also have heard what the Air Jordan 11 holiday release is going to be next year. It's going to be the Columbias, and I can remember when these came out in 2014. Very cool release. These were of course worn by MJ in the 96 All-Star game in San Antonio, where he would have won MVP were it not for Glenn Rice catching absolute fire, I think, in the third quarter and setting a record for threes or something like that. But these are going to be coming out with the more traditional higher cuts with the patent leather, and are going to be a lot more closer to the OGs. And we're also going to be getting the Jordan 1 High Black Toe reimagined next year as well. The rumors around the shoe have been circulating and coming back and circulating, coming back. It looks like we're going to be getting them again sometime in the holiday season for next year, and we haven't got any images to go off at this time. But the Black Toe 1 OG is one of the best colorways in my opinion of the Jordan 1 High ever. And we're not done yet with awesome retros for next year. The Air Jordan 9 Olive are also coming out next year. Another late release in 2024, and quite possibly the best or second best OG Jordan 9 ever. And finally, the Jordan 14 Black Toe are also releasing next year. I know all of you guys out there probably aren't massively into the Jordan 14s. But this, for a lot of old head collectors, is one of the best Jordan 14 colorways of all time. Action Bronson is back in 2024 with some banging New Balances. We heard him talking on the Complex podcast recently about some New Balance projects in the pipelines, and we've had our first looks at the Rosewater 1906Rs. These are bright, these are vibrant, these are out there. According to Action Bronson, he reckons this is already the most polarizing sneaker of 2024. You just wait. I love for the women's colorway has no end. Women's aerobics meets me. I've been collecting sneakers for 37 years. If you're a true sneakerhead, you know about copping the women's joints. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there will agree. A lot of times women get really cool, exclusive, low-key colorways that don't often run out to full extended size runs for men. And so if you don't have massive boat feet, copping women's shoes is awesome a lot of the time. And these with their bright colors reference that whole 80s aerobics outfit with the leotards and the headbands and the long socks. Very cool shoe. I think a lot of people are going to eat these up. I don't think these are going to be particularly polarizing. I think a lot of people are going to be out there for these. What do you guys think? Now, you know how I was talking about the Yeezy 2 samples and how I'm so glad that they just stayed samples and they didn't release them? Well, this right here is the opposite of that. These are an unreleased sample of the albino and preto SB Dunks that have appeared with the colorful underlays already pre-exposed. And personally, I think these are so much better. I mean, whilst this is a nice shoe, it's a clean shoe, it's a smart shoe, it is a boring shoe. I don't want to have to get out my X-Acto knife or scalpel to painstakingly remove the panels to make this shoe exciting. I would have way rather had these. I think these look dope. And if these had actually come out like this in the first place, I think these would rank way higher on the best SB collabs list of the year. What do you guys think? So we've had our first looks at some pretty exciting SB Dunks set to come out next year. These are called the Big Money Savings. And these are inspired by old receipts promising big savings or coupons. In fact, they feature this big coupon receipt thing on the inside tongue. They've got a combination of different materials, including what looks to be a nubuck suede on the upper, floral detailing on the mid panel, custom insoles, custom Nike branding on the heel tab. I mean, they're okay, but they're not really giving me much cause for happiness, I've got to say. Like, apart from the Futura SBs, none of the SBs slated to come out next year are really giving me much hope. I think that's a combination of a lot of these sneakers just being shit and us coming off the back of what I think was a really good year for Nike SB this year. I could be wrong. Feel free to let me know if you disagree down below. We have had some detailed on-foot looks of the Kobe 4 Phillies colorway. These are looking really good, especially in these pics. I do think these are going to be nigh on impossible to get, but they are definitely looking cool. What do you guys think? Summertime Air Jordan 4s to look forward to. These are the Vivid Sulphur. They have very similar color blocking to the OG Fire Red colorway, but instead of the red, we're getting this Vivid Sulphur, which at this point could be synonymous with yellow ochre. Summertime release, as said, $200. Looking pretty cool, looking pretty clean. We can expect a big year next year for the Air Jordan 4 as well as the Air Flight 89, given that it's going to be the 35th anniversary of the model. So I think between these, as well as the Bread Reimagines, as well as the Military Blues, the Fears, as well as some more potential colorways of the very successful SB collab, it is going to be a huge year next year for Jordan 4s. Seen some nice, clean, clear, crispy images of Salehi Bambury's next New Balance collab. These 1906Rs we saw earlier in the year at Paris Fashion Week on the man's feet, but in these images we can see that same pair pictured alongside another pretty striking colorway as well. No release date on these at the minute. These feel like a summertime type release to me, and these represent a little bit of a departure from Bambury's usual monochromatic style. We see a way more vividly chromatic gradient across the mesh base, which transitions from an effulgent yellow at the toe cap to a more bold crimson red enveloping the heel. The second colorway that you can see in the back here shows an equally audacious effort in orange, blue, and purple. Definitely prefer the yellow-orange pair a little bit more myself, but both pairs look pretty cool. What do you guys think of this? And there we go. That is about it for this week's sneaker wrap. Do me a favor, if you haven't already liked the video, please do it now before you bounce. And don't forget to go over and check me out over on IG and TikTok. Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time to watch the video. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to check out my video around some of the biggest sneakers to look forward to this upcoming January, check out the vid coming up momentarily. And hey, take it easy. I'll see you on the next one. Take care for now, and peace.